Hey guys, welcome back to the Gen D podcast. We're your hosts.
Tyler and Alyssa.
Yeah.
This is our off-topic where we talk about things off topic.
Yep.
Did I say that right?
Yes. You did.
I got tripped up. I don't know.
She's sleepy.
Sleepy. I've been up since 3 in the morning. I don't know if you know how long that is, but it's long.
It's a long time.
It's probably like 10 hours. But so my body hurts. Not your fault. I decided to play softball in the middle of the week for no reason whatsoever than because I was asked.
I was sleepy. I was
like, somebody please show up for me. I texted LJ. I was like, hey, do you want to come to my softball game? You know, you can bring kids and stuff. And, everyone had their kids and, some guy showed up with his dad. And LJ was like, okay, where is it? And I was like, I sent him the address. It was in Harrison, Ohio. Which isn't far from Covington, but it's fairly far from Erlanger. Yeah. And so he was like, that's 40 minutes away, but you have such a good time, baby. He was like,
I'm not coming.
He was really sweet about it. He was like, he was telling me like, hit that ball, baby. Like, you got this. Get that home run, girl. Like, I know you can do this. And, but he's not coming. He was like, it's 40 minutes out. I'm good.
I felt so bad because I thought it was later.
Yeah.
And I tried to get up, but when you messaged, you were like, I'm already done. And I was like, what time was
literally,
this thing?
It was like, first of all, we got there before, it started at 9 a.m. And we had 3 games all together. So we were done by like 12:30, 1 o'clock. I texted you and I was like, this could be fun. Like, you've been trying to get the kids out and everything like that. I just wish that I had coordinated it better, which is why I don't blame you at all. Because if I had like told you on Monday when I came here that like, oh, by the way, I have a softball game. Here's where it's at. Here's the time. You should show up with the kids. Then you totally would have.
Yeah.
But and everything was free. There was free funnel cake, ice cream. There was
I missed out, man.
I know. There was free you could get fried cheesecake. I mean, it was crazy.
Oh my god.
And so it was a lot of fun, but I even called my dad, and my dad was up next, because you weren't getting back to me, and LJ already told me no. And I knew Destiny couldn't because, she was at work. And I call my dad and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? My softball game is today if you feel like coming up. And he was like, I'm in Indiana and I also can't hear you. Bye. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll just be by myself then. No, but I had a really good time.
I feel so bad though.
No, you shouldn't, because I should have coordinated better. And instead of like doing everything last minute, like y'all want to come. But the thing is like, I didn't realize it was going to be like a one-time thing. You know, I thought that we were going to do this like a couple of times. Yeah. And I also was like, so I was in my head thinking like, oh, well, like they'll catch the next one.
They'll catch the next one. Yeah. Not the next one.
The next one will be next year. Like, it's fine. Also, the tops of my shoulders are sunburnt, but my arms got tan. And I'm like, well, they're not actually tan. I was outside for one day.
The Italians coming out now.
Yeah, like, look, we're the same.
We are.
I'd argue that you're more Italian than me.
I am probably more Italian.
But here's the thing. My dad's side does have Italian.
So you're probably about the same amount of Italian.
Right. But I just don't know how much and where.
Yeah.
So, and they're more white than they are Italian. Now, however, my mom's side, my biological mom, she's more Italian than white.
Yeah.
So it's like,
if you see like my family, you just see the Italian, and like you just see it. That's all you see. Like when my grandma does come onto the show, because she does, you'll be like, that is an Italian woman. Like, she is definitely an Italian woman.
My grandma Shimataro, she was definitely very Italian, but I think that my grandfather, like her husband, was white of some kind.
Yeah.
So then, like that, but I also don't know for sure, and they're both deceased. So
Yeah.
You know, I don't know for
You're
sure.
like, I don't know.
I don't want to make any assumptions about his race. But that would make my mom half Italian, which would then make me a quarter.
Yeah.
So, because of my dad being white. But if my dad is telling the truth,
then you have more
then
Italian
I
in
do
you.
have more than a quarter.
Yeah.
So, like 2/4, which is a half. Math is very hard for me.
Math is hard for me
to this day.
It's okay.
That's a fraction. It's a half. I was also, fractions were my enemy. Fuck you for making me do fractions in the 3rd grade and then again for the rest of my life. Because like baking and shit, like you need fractions. It's like one of those things that you need. And I'm like, oh, like you got to know how much a fourth is, or like money. Like,
oh my god, I have a funny story.
So like, I know you were getting into a story.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Go for it.
when I got home from the softball game, we'll get into that. When I got home, I literally or have we already gotten into that?
We already got into the softball game that you had a softball game.
Yeah. So first of all, I woke up at 6 a.m. for that softball game. Oh my god.
Was it on a day off?
On my day off.
Okay.
Well, I had to work that night because that was last night. But I was off the night before. So it's really weird because I work half nights, half into the day.
Yeah, 3rd shift.
So I technically work
crazy.
It's very confusing.
3rd shift is like a whole
But it's half 3rd, half 1st.
Yeah, because
like I
you
go
work
in at
until
3 a.m. to 11 a.m.
It's a lot. I don't know how you're doing it.
I'm not.
I don't know how you're
I'm kidding. I'm not thriving. My acne has never been worse. It's not that bad, but it is getting there, and I'm like, I gotta cut out the fast food. Look, I've been catching up on all the things I couldn't eat before, and I think I've caught up. You need to calm down now.
I'm back.
You ever get to that point where you're like, okay, Alyssa.
Now, I am trying not to get to that point with food because I have issues with food.
Me too.
And I'm like,
but my issues was that I couldn't have it for so long. Yeah. And now I'm playing catch up because I'm and I'm not eating a tremendous amount, but it is every day that I'm eating fast food ish of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm I haven't had that in months. You know what I mean?
I can eat again.
I can eat again and I don't have to worry about pain. So where was I even at?
You were
the softball game was at 7:00 in the morning. So the softball game lasted until 1 or 2. I got home, or 12:30, 1 o'clock. I don't know, but I got home around 2 something. I probably fell asleep around 3. Woke up at close to 8, and then hung out with LJ for a bit. Went to bed at 11 something, probably 11:30. So I only slept for a couple hours because I woke up at 2. So I'm taking naps instead of
that's what happens when
sleeping
you
for long periods of time.
See, that was one of my issues when I worked 3rd shift, especially having Georgia, is I would good thing that my grandparents were helping with the kids when I did work 3rd shift, because there for a while when they weren't, it was I would go to sleep, I'd wake up, get Georgia off the bus, and then have her come up to my room, get her lunch, eat, while I try to sleep, and that's impossible with that little girl.
It really is.
Yeah.
She is all over you, breathing down your neck. One time I woke up on the couch, and she was she had gotten a hold of candy of some kind, chocolate. And I literally, all I remember, because this was kind of a mom moment for me, where it was a real aunt moment, but it was I opened my eyes, and she's staring at me with her bag of chocolate. I'm like, where did you get that chocolate? And she went, right there. And I was like, give me that bag of chocolate. I literally took it from her, and I put it up where she couldn't reach it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it is not even 8 a.m. You cannot be hyper right now. I can't handle that right now. I can't handle it. I was like, I will make you a real breakfast, okay? But you do not need to be waking me up staring at me eating a bag of chocolate. Where did you get it though?
I don't know where she finds half the stuff that she gets. Oh my god, she's cracking me up here lately. She loses her shoes quite a bit. Well, she still has some of her smaller shoes that used to not fit her because we're bad at throwing shoes away once we buy her new ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so she got these new Crocs. Well, here lately, she's wearing the new Croc and then one of her old Crocs because she loses the other new Croc. So she's wearing 2 different Crocs. So my sister came and picked her up this morning, and she was wearing 2 different Crocs. And I'm like, girl, you need your Croc that matches that one. You cannot leave wearing 2 different Crocs. So she couldn't find the other Crocs, so she went upstairs and got her shoes. And she's like, I'm wearing these now. And I'm like, well, at least they match.
Right.
Like, at least
I'll take the
they
win.
match. Yeah. She drives me nuts. She is.
What was your thing about money?
So yesterday we were on our way to so Leo won $1 from Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And well, it was a battle between him and his sister. And Leo wound up winning. Here lately they've been in a battle mode.
Okay.
Like where they want to compete with each other to see who gets something done first. And like it's the front seat has been one of the problems too.
Yeah.
So like yesterday, like Leo took off and got into the front seat, and Mackenzie's been losing. She's been getting mad. She's had an attitude.
I believe it.
She's had
probably
an
like
attitude.
I'm sick of losing.
Yeah, she's had an attitude here lately that it's like, girl, you and I are about to fight. Because there was something that I asked her to do because her brother was doing something else. Oh, mowing the grass. Her brother was mowing the grass. So you wash these dishes because your brother's mowing the grass.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Leo said I would do them. And I was like, no. I'm like, Mackenzie can do them because you're mowing the grass right now. And there's not that many dishes in the sink. There was like maybe 3 dishes in the sink. And she started yapping, and she had this little tone to her, and she does this little whisper tone, and it's like you can't hear what she said, but you know
that she's talking shit.
Yeah. And I was like, so I turned my head and I looked at her and I said, girl, do you want to fight? I was like, because you and I are about to fight. I was like, your little attitude here lately has not been pleasant. And I was like, and if you want to see an attitude, I can give you one.
It's such a parent thing.
So anyway,
did your parents ever say, "I'll give you something to cry about" every time or whenever you started crying?
That's such a trauma response. It is
like,
not exactly the best response to give a child.
Like, but to be fair, what does that even mean? Like, you're gonna hit me? I'm crying and you're gonna hit me?
So I learned that pretty early on not to say that to a child, because I did at once, and then I was like, when I would when people would talk about that and how it's not exactly the greatest thing to say to a child, it's like, you're right. Like, they're upset.
Yeah.
Like, they have like
a right to be
upset. And so, like, for instance, like Mackenzie, when they got in trouble, both of them got in trouble, and we grounded them for the night. Like, it was like no TV during bedtime. Yeah. So like, you guys got to go to bed. And Mackenzie got upset and she started to cry. And I did ask her why she was upset, because like sometimes it's like, why are you upset?
Yeah.
Like, what is upsetting about that? And so she was just like, well, because I can't watch TV. And I said, well, it's only for a day, because like we're repeating ourselves all the time. I'm like, so it's just for the night. It's not like you're grounded.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. You know, take the punishment as it is. I was like, you have a right to be upset. You're upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious on why you're upset. Because here's the thing. I have a brain that works differently than most. So sometimes when people are upset, my logical brain isn't computing why they're upset. I'm just like curious about it. So sometimes it can come across as I'm trying to be an asshole, but I'm not, because I'm genuinely curious on why you're upset.
Right.
Because it's like, why is it upsetting? And I get taking that stuff away from a child is the end of the world.
Yeah.
So like, but it was only for a night. So it's, why are you that upset for it being a night? So anyway, so we found out why. Mackenzie's kind of going crazy. So she's like, I think she's living in Lululand. We were sitting at Gold Star on Tuesday because Gold Star's Kids Eat Free on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So promote us. I love Gold Star.
Me
That's my favorite restaurant. So on Tuesday we eat free, or kids eat free. So Tuesday is we go to Gold Star Day.
Right.
And so we're sitting in there, and I asked Mackenzie, what was upsetting about that. So I guess her friend had gotten in trouble when she stayed the night, so they couldn't watch TV at night. So it meant Mackenzie was going to go another day without watching TV. And then she was like, well, also, like, I think her house is haunted because we saw a little girl. But when she started talking about it, it didn't make any sense because it went into the subject. She was like, well, there was another person there, and we couldn't watch TV and all this other stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about? So come to find out, she thinks their house is haunted.
Mm-hmm.
Which I said the likelihood of that, unless it's built on a burial ground, is very slim because these are like fairly new houses.
Right.
I was like, so the likelihood of it being haunted is very slim unless there's something attached or like it's built on a burial ground that brought the spirit into the house.
Right.
So I said the likelihood is very slim. And I was like, and if you would stop watching scary stuff, maybe you wouldn't be convinced that there's a spirit. So they think our house is haunted.
Why?
And I'm like, I'm up all hours of the night. Like, I am a night owl to a fucking T. If I could be a vampire, I'd succeed at it. I do love the daylight, though. I might not succeed because I do like sun. But I thrive during the night. But I'm like, I've been up all hours of the night throughout this whole house. Like, basement, middle floor, like top area. I have never seen anything to indicate that this house is haunted.
Right.
She goes, well, my door opens by itself sometimes. And I said, well, your door doesn't latch properly. And she said, well, Coco knocked it closed one time before, too. And then it opened back up because she stared at the door as it was opening. I said, well, your door doesn't latch properly. And Coco's probably like, ooh, toy, and playing with the door.
Right.
Well, she goes, well, it was already open. I said, so the wind caught the door. She goes, no, it opened by itself. I said, well, it was already cracked, Mackenzie, right? Well, yeah. I said, so the wind or something opening probably caught the door and the door slowly started opening.
Like if Leo opened his door.
Yeah. I'm like, so there's no ghost, Mackenzie. I'm like, you're in a delusion.
There's no ghost. She's probably just scared from all the stuff she's been watching.
Probably. Oh my god. Okay, so anyway, so we were sitting in the car yesterday, and Leo, I don't know if the school did a great job or I'm doing bad parenting about how to count money with my kids, because Leo was trying to count his change that he had.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, how much is this worth? And I was like, what is it? Because I'm driving.
Right.
So I can't look over and like look at him as he's like trying to count his money. I was like, so how much money, like, what are you trying to show me? And he's like, well, what is this? And I was like, is it a quarter? I was like, is it a dime? Is it a nickel? Like, is it a penny? Which is it? And he was like, well, it's a quarter. I said, so how much is a quarter worth? He's like, well, 25. I said, okay. He's like, so, well, how much money do I have? I was like, well, how many quarters do you have? And he's like, well, right now, I'm pretty sure I have like $3 in quarters. Well, I was like, okay, so you have $3. But do you know how much each quarter is to get up to that dollar? Mm-hmm. He's like, well, 4 quarters is $1. I was like, okay.
But so how much is that?
How much do you get? So I was like, so you have 25 cents, right? I was like, so how much does 2 quarters make? Well, I have to do the math on that. I said, why? I was like, it's 50 cents, Leo. I was like, why do you have
half
to
of
do
100.
Yeah, I was like, why do you have to do, the math on that? I was like, so you need to remember that 1 quarter is 25,
Mhm.
2 quarters is 50. I was like, 3 quarters is 75, and I was like, and 1 quarter is $1, or 4 quarters is $1. He's like, okay. I was like, so if someone says, hey, I need 50 cents, how many quarters do you give them? Well, 2. I said, okay. I was like, good. I was like, you do know that. So then he was like, okay, so then how much is this other one? I was like, well, what is it? Is this a smaller coin? Because I'm like driving
Right.
and trying to like navigate, and he's wanting me to count this money out. I was like, so how much is it? A smaller coin? What is it? I was like, is it a dime, nickel? He's like, I think it's a dime. And I was like, well, how much is a dime? And he's like, 5 cents. I was like, no. I was like, it's 10. I was like, it's 10 cents. He's like, well, I get the nickel and the dime confused. I was like, how?
How? It's the smallest one.
I know.
Dimes are literally so like I get confused a nickel and a quarter sometimes. But I don't get confused over the dime because that bitch is tiny.
So I said, remember, so now you got 10 cents. I was like, you got to count by 10. And I was like, and then if you have a nickel, it's 5. So you got to go 5. So like if you have 7 dimes, I was like, that's 70 cents. I was like, if you have a nickel, then it's 75 cents because you got the 7 dimes and then
like
1
that makes
nickel.
sense, right?
Yeah. So
It
he was
does.
like, okay. And I was like, so remember, if I ask for 75 cents and you have quarters, I was like, how many quarters do you need to get to 75? He's like, 3. I was like, okay. I was like, there is no need to add up the math there if you just remember that each quarter, the more, like you got to 50, 75, $1.
Yeah.
I was like, so that's how you remember it. And he was like, okay. And I was like, so how much money do you have? He was like, $4.60 something cents. I was like, there you go. You figured it out.
Learned.
I'm like, jeez.
Did school teach you nothing?
Did school teach you nothing, or
well,
am I
don't
a
you learn
terrible
that
parent?
in like the 3rd
Yes.
grade?
But his excuse was, well, I don't usually have this much money.
That's fair. If you're not doing it every day, you're not like you forget it.
I still said it's common knowledge.
It is common.
I'm like, I may not be the best.
Maybe
at
not in their
things,
generation,
but this is common knowledge.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like our teachers were always like, "You're gonna have to learn this.
That
You're
is
not gonna have a
true.
calculator in your
That is
pocket."
true.
And then we literally grew up with calculators in our pocket.
That is true. But I do know, like, I do think it's funny because when I'm at stores, when I was a cashier, if someone were to, like, up or give me an even amount of money, my brain would go blank.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, shit, now I have to figure shit out. So then I'm calculating, and then I look like a stupid person because it's like, but I hate when people would do that. It drive me freaking bonkers. I know this off-topic topic is going to be a little longer. Yeah, we're going to have to end this. but I have so many funny stories. I have one that I have to tell, and I can't name the person.
Oh.
So we went to La Rosa's, and it was a family member. We went to La Rosa's a couple weeks ago. And this is one of the stories that I wanted to tell you. So we went to La Rosa's, and before we got there, that family member had to use the restroom and clog the toilet in La Rosa. So there was a birthday party going on behind us, and these parents, I'm telling you right now, my kids can get loud, but I correct them. I make sure that people around us are comfortable when they're eating out. I know kids are going to get a little crazy, but these freaking parents, their little girls, were just screaming. And I'm like, and they were right behind us. Yeah. And they weren't correcting the behavior, nothing. They were being annoying. It was so annoying. So these little girls had to go to the bathroom, and they went into the bathroom, and all you do is you hear them screaming and talking about the fact that the toilet was clogged. So we're sitting there, and I didn't, mind you, at this time, I didn't know that this family member was the one that clogged the toilet. So I guess it was stinking up the bathroom too. This family member would kill me if I probably will kill me by telling this story, but I said I was going to put it on the podcast regardless. I do have consent, so
we don't have to like.
we're not naming. I did tell her that I would not name her.
Yeah, but we don't have to air it on the TikTok or anything.
Yeah, that's true. So as these little girls are screaming, my family member is talking. She's whispering to another family member because my daughter had to use the restroom, and that family member was telling the other family member to take her, and she was whispering to her, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. And as these little girls are screaming about the clogged toilet and how it stinks in the bathroom, mind you, the family member did tell the employees that the toilet was clogged. And she would have done it herself if there was a plunger in the bathroom, but there was not
right.
one. So she is telling the other family member, just take her to the other stall. These girls are still screaming, but I didn't know what was going on. And then eventually we got the story of that was me that clogged the toilet. And I was like, what? So these little girls are screaming because you're the one that did it? And she was like, yeah, it was me. Like, I felt like it was so funny. So then she was like, we were laughing about it. As we're laughing about it on television, there is a professional pillow fight.
Really?
Yes. We were like watching it on the television in the Rosas. It was professional pillow fighting. It's a legitimate thing.
That's crazy.
So they have like not normal pillows.
Yeah.
They have like handles on the little pillow thing, and you hit each other with it. And we're like trying to figure out the rules because it's like, how do you like get the point system of this pillow fight? And they make quite a bit of money off of this.
Huh.
And it was like, and they're like going at it. Like they're like pillow fighting, and it's grown ass men doing it too. So you got like these grown ass men, and some of them are really pretty hot. I'm like, damn, okay, Pillow League, let's get it. But yeah, professional pillow fighting.
That's crazy. I've never heard of that before.
I've never heard of it until that.
What an industry.
What an industry.
What will they think of next?
So we were sitting there thinking that it was probably the reason why it's professional pillow fighting is because these fighters couldn't make it in the like, hand-to-hand combat fighting.
The MMA.
Yeah, so they had to go to pillow fighting instead. They're like, we're going to make our living this way then. And people were hyping it up in the
bad
crowd. No, it's not. But they were hyping it up. Yeah, I was like, damn. Professional pillow fighting. That was pretty interesting to me. Pretty interesting. Also, one more thing before we go on to our main topic. Kinsey has been wanting to record an episode with me.
Yeah.
She said that she was going to pop your tire.
Wow.
You wouldn't show up so she could record an episode with me.
So she's going to come to my house and pop my tire.
Pop your tire.
I would just ask you to come pick me up. Like I've done that before. Hey, my tire's popped. Will you come pick me up?
Will you come get me? And so
she would have been like,
I know.
car on the way to pick me up.
I know. She'd be like, damn it.
She'd be like mumbling on her.
I know. She'd be like, I'm popping his tire. Like,
I better watch out. But even 3 cars.
I know.
Oh, you're getting me somewhere.
Unless she pops all 3 tires, which I wouldn't put it past her. She scares me. She's a little scary. So I'm telling my sister that today that Mackenzie's been wanting to record, so she threatened to pop Alyssa's tire.
Can literally have a week. Like, that's fine. She can have a day.
And she was like, all you hear is go, I will pop that tire.
Okay.
So all I see is the devious little light. You know that little like when an evil post
Yeah.
comes in, the light comes down, and you just see that.
The crazy.
And I'm like, okay, girl,
Okay.
like settle down.
You need to like lock your bedroom door when you go
I
to bed.
know. I do. She's a little.
Because you're gonna piss her off one day.
Oh.
And she's gonna be.
I'm gonna wait. Well, the great thing is, I like she's asleep before.
Yeah.
Go to bed.
You never know. She might wake up. But
She
also
might-
when she gets to be a teenager,
Yeah.
you might want to look out.
I know. I'm a little scared. But yeah. So, on that note, we'll be right back.
Bye.
That was a little early.
This is fucking crazy. This is worse than at Myrtle Beach because at Myrtle Beach it didn't bruise, but I was off of it.
Yeah. And now you're just chilling on it.
I was literally working on it all morning, like carrying shit.
You poor thing. You poor thing. She's over here getting like hurt like 20 different times already. This girl had
This is why
surgery.
I don't go outside and do things, okay?
And now she has a bruised ankle. It's swollen.
It's the size of a fucking golf. Look at the fucking size of him.
No one can see it.
I know. It's not great. It's the size of a golf ball. If you need like
If you need description. And there's a little bruise on the side of it. This poor girl. She's just in it. Welcome back.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back.
We were talking about my ankle because I fucked it up. Did I tell that story on air?
I think you were in the process of telling it, then we got
I
onto
basically
different topics.
So I went to the softball game yesterday, and the first game we did, it was my first time hitting the swinging the bat, and I hit the ball, and it was flying, and I was like, fuck yeah. And I ran to first base, and not even halfway, I didn't get very far. I just tripped over my big ass shoes that I didn't tie properly, and like rolled the fuck out of my ankle, and then continued to play on it for the rest of the day, and then worked on it all day this morning. But like, it doesn't hurt. It was hard when I woke up yesterday because it had like swollen and it was hard to walk on it.
Well, yeah, the stiffness too.
The more I walk on it, like the better it is, but it's not helping at the same time.
I would be very careful. I think you should go get checked out.
I really don't want to.
I know. Just see how it goes, I guess.
I will.
Oh, poor girl. This poor girl. She's just going through it.
I'm so tired.
She's feeling the pain.
I think they're gonna fire me if I keep having medical emergencies.
You can't do that. That's illegal.
Well, to be fair, they all saw the medical emergency.
Yeah. No one did anything about it. They didn't say, "Hey, let's ice that ankle."
They did. We did ice it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's it.
And then I iced it last night and everything.
You should probably ice
And
it
elevated it. I'm gonna go home and do that.
and elevate.
And sleep.
Elevate, ice. We're off topic.
It is not a good angle.
It isn't a good ankle.
This is the same ankle that I rolled in North Carolina. Down Myrtle Beach.
Ugh.
It's just a bad angle.
Isn't Myrtle Beach, South Carolina?
It is. But we went to North Carolina, but it was close enough. It was like an hour away.
It's like
or 2 hours.
Okay, it's on the cusp.
Yeah, so we went into South Carolina for a day to go to Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
So that's why I said North Carolina. We were in and out, lickety split.
Lickety split.
I got rum. That's one of my summer vacations, funny enough. I got like a fishbowl at the beach.
Oh yeah.
And
Ironic.
yeah. And I got halfway through it before I was fucked up off my ass. And then I later realized that it had rum in it, which is the one alcohol that literally makes me like it puts me out. Like fucked after that.
You're
Like
done.
I'm done. And then it also like really like makes me feel like messed up, and I don't know. I don't like rum at all, and I didn't know that it had only rum.
Only rum.
And like juice probably. And like so but then we were walking on the boardwalk and I'm drunk. So drunk. And there was like a uneven brick on the boardwalk. It's bricked.
Oh, and you tripped over it. Ah.
Yeah, it was not good.
That pain.
Yeah.
See, I have never been drunk on a beach.
I didn't want to be that drunk. But again, rum. And apparently, I have no memory of this. But apparently, I went to the bathroom. I remember going to the bathroom and feeling really sick, but I didn't actually get sick. And so I'm just sitting on the floor and I'm pale as shit. And I'm like, and I called Destiny, or I called maybe Michaela and was like, I really need Destiny right now. Can you go get Destiny?
Get her for me.
And Destiny was like, I'm on my way. Help is on the way, dude.
Help is on the way. I'll never be drunk on a beach.
It's not all it's hyped up to be.
I know, but I'll never get to experience that.
You shouldn't. It was not fun. But we did stop off at McDonald's on the way home, and that was fun.
I've been high on a beach.
Same.
The paranoia was just a lot. Like when we went to Florida, I was high on the beach, and it was like during sunset. So like, of course, like this is how I found out that I only smoke sativa, because like the indica makes me like paranoid. So like I was high on a beach, and I was freaking out about everybody getting into the water at sunset, and I was like, you guys should come back up on the shore. And like I had Georgia like at my hip because I was afraid, and Chris is like, I have her, like you are fine, like I have her. And I was like, no, don't touch my baby. Don't touch her, she's mine. And he was like, okay, I can't fight you at this point. It was bad. It was terrible. But anyway, that's not what our topic is about.
No.
What is our topic about?
Abandoned things, or things that's scary.
Things that are scary.
Places.
Scary places. And then you also showed me this trend.
Yeah, so the Hunger Games
TikTok,
arena.
Yeah.
So like it's basically like if you could make any part of the world a Hunger Game arena, what parts would you do? And a lot of people do like their own like hometown. So like for instance in Cincinnati, I saw a video that had what was it?
There was the Children's Museum.
Which track?
Yeah, well, because think about it. The Children's Museum, there's a lot of underground tunnels.
Oh, that is cool.
Because it was a train station.
Right.
Yeah. So
right.
It was a train station.
Was it the Underground Railroad?
No. The Underground Railroad wasn't an actual underground situation.
Right.
And it was just called the Underground
because it was low key.
Yeah, low key. That was why it was called the Underground.
Like a speakeasy.
Yeah. So, but this is an actual train station. I'm historicing the history buff over here.
Oh my god, pause. I don't
Her sleep is catching up to her.
Why did I think of that?
Unpause. So the Children's Museum was a
the tunnel?
I'm sure there's. I'm pretty sure.
Is it like underground?
Yeah, but I don't know where it like goes. Like I have been in that place a billion freaking times, and I still have yet. Like I think they should try to make something out of that.
I don't think I've ever been there.
It is very interesting. There's like
I like museums, but at the moment, the thought of walking anywhere.
Just too much.
It's just too much for me to bear.
I would love to go back. I haven't been to the museum since I was in my early 20s. I am 32. So that's like 10 years that I have not been in the museum.
It's probably changed.
And well, so I have been to the museum out in the parking lot when I
Right.
did that picture for my mom with my kids. So there was a picture that my mom absolutely loves, and it was of me, my brother, and my sister, and my kids redid that picture
Yeah.
for my mom for her birthday. Um, so that place, and there's like a whole different places that like you can go around. I just think it would be an interesting place to have it because it does look like it would be a place that a Hunger Games would happen at. And the parking lot itself is like freaking huge.
Yeah.
So like, why not? I think it would be kind of fun. Not actually being in the Hunger Games.
No.
Like,
But like the thought of the arenas are kind of cool. Like Jungle Gyms was one of them.
Jungle Gyms was one of
I
them.
thought that was so clever because they have so many like I don't want to say animatronics because don't. They're
creepy. They are very creepy creatures.
I have megalophobia, so like giant. Okay, can we just talk about my phobias for a second? So
Ocean.
Theslophobia is the fear of the ocean because you want to know something though? I was playing GTA, yes, Grand Theft Auto 5.
A lot of people play that game.
Well, LJ got me into it, so it's his fault. But anyways, and we're playing it, right? Because you can like do multiplayer. He can come into my game and stuff. And so he's chilling on the bed, and I'm chilling at my computer desk. And he was like, "We can go in the ocean if you want." So we went into the ocean, and when the dude went underwater, because it looked so real, it freaked me out, and I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, "We have to get out of the water. We have to get out of the water." And
I love games that like you can go into the water.
yeah, it was cool, but it's what's gonna pop out at me, you know? Like I can't do it. It's the vastness. I don't know, dog. So I also have megalophobia, which is fear of like giant things. So like statue, like okay. So have you ever seen? So the mix of the two, theslophobia and megalophobia, is submechanophobia, which is giant things underwater or in water. It really freaks me out. And like for instance, in Italy, there's this giant ass statue hand that's coming out of the water, and it's latched on to an apartment building just under the window.
Oh, that sounds cool.
No, and then there's like the drowning woman or whatever, and she like so there's just like this giant face sticking out underwater, and like and she, oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm gonna throw up. But to see people like swimming near these things is what really freaks me out. Is like they're so small compared to this giant thing, and you have no idea. I can't do it. I can't do it. It freaks me out. It freaks me out so much. Oh my god, ew.
Well,
and then
good thing you'll never have to do it.
I won't. You won't catch me dead anywhere near that.
I would be afraid I'd get sucked into something.
Exactly.
Because like the
my heart's right.
Or if it shifts.
No.
Well, I can't do like big waters, like the depth of it. So like for instance, that time that I swam across to get to this other part where people were, it like logically made sense to me after I came back that I just swam over a like trench essentially to get to the other side. Exactly. That freaks me out because you don't know what can like come up
exactly.
And get you.
Nobody knows.
I don't like being too far out into the ocean anyway.
Under there, and anything can come up, and it's their world, not yours. Get out.
You know, it's funny. It's all of our worlds, but it's like their domain.
We're land animals. Like, stick me in a pool and I'll be happy, but do not throw me in the ocean. I don't understand how people like in movies, action movies mainly, they'll like come out of an airplane or something and they'll land in the middle of the ocean, and then they're just like, "Oh, okay, I'll just swim somewhere." If I land in the middle of the ocean,
I think a lot of those are just tools.
I
think they're fake.
Well, they are because it's movies, but it's what's implied.
Yeah.
And they show you, like, it looks like they're in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's like, you are so small compared to all the water around you, and it's just going on for eons and eons and eons, and you don't know what's under there. And
that's why I would
it's
never go out and
stressing
swim
me out.
in like depths of the ocean.
It's stressing me out.
Like, keep me near the shore.
I'm not. I'm barely fine. I'm barely fine. I'm so serious. And then, like, another weird phobia that I have is the fear of a bunch of like small holes. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like a bunch of like. Sorry, it's a bunch of like tiny holes together.
Mm.
I'd show you a picture, but it would literally make me cry. Literally, look up it on your phone, the fear of small holes, and look at the pictures. But if you show me, I will freak out.
Okay.
Because I have looked it up before, and it's terrifying. And this is not before I figured out I had it, but after. So I know that's not why. But it is freaky. It's really freaky.
I love how it pulled up automatically.
That's not terrifying to you? It gives me the heebie-jeebies.
I mean, it's a little, like...
It's off-putting, for sure. And I'm sure they're showing you the worst of the worst right now.
I'm not going to show you.
My skin itches. Like, I can't...
The fear... I think my fear... This can kind of correspond with our topic, but, like, fear of, like, holes...
Yeah.
That are, like, you don't know where they go.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, like, the person in Jeepers Creepers that went back, just mind your own business. Again, mind your own fucking business. Just go. If you see someone doing something, don't go back.
Let them live their life.
Let them do whatever, because, like, at the end of the day, you're probably not going to save the person that you're wanting to save.
Right. You're just going to get caught in the middle, and you're just going to get fucked. You can call the police from the way out.
Yeah.
Like, I digress.
Yeah, so...
I got a lot of heat on horror movie people because they're so dumb. And I get it. You have to be.
You have to be.
You got to do it for the plot. I understand. 9 out of 10 people in Final Destination would have lived if they had just moved out of the fucking way. Like, if they didn't just sit there and stare at it for so long, they would have, like...
There was a lady...
I mean, they wouldn't have survived for long, but...
Speaking of... There was a lady that I saw on TikTok. She was walking, and this noise came up, and she goes, "I'm gone." And she walked, she turned right back around. It was just a freaky noise. It was during the day. She was like, "I'm not exploring that." At the same time, I wouldn't explore it either. I know all these people are like, "Oh, let's explore it."
I don't understand your curiosity. Have you ever heard about what happened to the cat? Like,
yeah, like...
I do not understand. I don't understand. And then, like, there's other things, too, where they're like, "Oh, let's split up." Why?
Why? Yes. Why split up?
If everyone in a slasher movie... Okay, because let's say Scream, for example. I know it's against 2, but, like, they killed, like, 6 people in a party full of people.
Yeah.
And it's like, if all of you banded together to go after this guy, instead of splitting up and letting him pick you off one by one, the idiocracy of it all.
There's a creepy big hole where it leads to nowhere. I'm not going down there.
I'm not either.
You can't convince
Have you
me.
ever seen Coraline? Like, mind your business.
Yeah, just walk away.
Apparently they're making a Coraline 2, though.
Are they?
I don't know. It's a rumor.
I've never seen... I didn't have any interest
You
in
never
watching
saw
the
the original?
I've seen clips of it. It was kind of boring.
Oh my god.
I'm going to offend a lot of people, probably.
You're offending me right now. Fun fact, the first time I ever watched that movie was at a Halloween party and I was like 9, right? And it was like a Halloween party that was my dad's boss's that he was throwing. And this was a party. Okay, they went all out. And it was like probably one of the best Halloween... I've only ever been to one, and it was that one. And it was so solid. And it was so cool. But I was also 9, so maybe it wasn't. And there were a bunch of adults. There were a few kids, too. They were mainly adults. And then, like, on TV in the living room was, like, on the channel that it was on or whatever, because, you know, back then everyone had a dish.
They did.
Yeah. And then it was Coraline, and I don't remember what part I started out, but I remember being very drawn into it. So I just sat my little happy ass down while everyone's partying behind me, and I'm eating, like, beanie weenies. And beanie weenies. And and I'm just watching this, and it was fascinating. And then later on, I ended up rewatching it fully, and I loved it.
Yeah, no, I just got bored. Just like
crazy
the, Corpse Bride, that was boring.
To be fair, I don't care personally for Corpse Bride. And y'all can come at me if you want. But that one is kind of boring to me. I've seen it enough times. If I ever like forget, I can watch it again. But like Coraline though was one of those movies that's so interesting because it's different. Like it's like got a lot of plot twists. There's very spooky aspects of it for a children's movie, and it's terrifying. And maybe it's because I got into it when I was a kid. It was very scary to me, but in a very cool way. And I'm a horror fan, so I love shit like that.
Right.
But there's so many like hints and like foreshadowing thing. I don't know. It's cool. It's cool.
I couldn't get into it, but I just mind your own business. Like,
literally,
just walk away. Like,
half of this stuff could be avoided if you would just leave.
If you just leave.
Or never
go there.
Never go there in the first place.
See, like, I have been to some haunted places. A trip that I took to, I think it was Gettysburg.
Where's that?
In Gettysburg. I don't know.
In like Virginia or Washington?
Where were we coming from? I think we were either coming from Washington. I think we were coming from Washington.
Gettysburg Square, right?
There's a haunted hotel there. I got cock-blocked, but, you know.
By the ghost?
No. Oh. By my grandpa.
Oh.
I was so into the guy that was giving the ghost tour.
Oh.
He was so hot. We were flirting hardcore. Like, me and him were, like, flirting. And I was trying to get his number. And my grandpa, every chance that I got, he would come up. Or, like, I would try to, like, kind of talk. And he was just there. It was just like, Grandpa, go away. I'm trying to get laid here. Go away.
God.
Like, I'm trying to get laid. Leave me alone. I stayed in a haunted hotel. That was interesting. Nothing happened. So I was kind of sad about it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, fuck, man. I went to a haunted tunnel where it was like a train tunnel. So it was like legitimate trains passed there, but I guess a lot of like deaths happened there.
Yeah.
I went there out of curiosity, just feel the like eeriness of going into it.
Yeah.
And it was dark, of course. I did the part where as a white person went in and got curious to see what would happen. And of course, you know, that's not smart to do. Avoid that. I also went to a haunted bridge once. And it was over in Milford, Ohio. So I went there. That was kind of creepy and kind of cool at the same time. And it was at the middle of the night.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Also, certain things that you should avoid in the middle of the night is forests or woods.
Yeah.
Me and an ex-friend of mine, we went, and she was my best friend at the time too. We got high and we went into the woods. We snuck into Nature Center because her house leaded into the Nature Center. So we kind of at night went into the Nature Center. It's peaceful and calm and kind of scary when you're high and the paranoia.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, what's happening? Those are places that I think you should avoid.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that like anything could happen there and you don't know who is creeping around.
Right.
Like now these days, now that I'm older, I've kind of become a
I just want to stay at home. It's safe.
Yeah.
It's not safe, but you know, it's safe enough.
You know,
it's familiar.
Yeah. Leo watched the Purge movies the other day, and we were talking about it, and I was just like, that could be a very real state of mind if that were to ever happen. Everything's legal for a whole 24 hours. So, like,
I think it's 12 hours.
Oh, this is 12 hours?
I think so, because it's from 7 to 7.
I don't remember.
I just recently rewatched them, like, last Halloween. So.
Oh, I haven't rewatched them because it kind of paranoid.
They freak me out.
Yeah.
They freak me out for sure.
Because it's like a very realistic
It is, and those are the freakiest.
It's just like Final Destination.
Like, it could really happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final Destination. I can't watch it. Like, I can.
Once was good enough for me.
Yeah. It's like, and the concept is like, you can't avoid death, but I'm like, there are so many people that avoid death. Like, in real life. Like,
well, because it's trying to clean up the timeline, I guess. I don't know. Like, you're not supposed to be alive, but it's like, if you're not supposed to be alive, then how come I'm getting visions of it?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
So the universe is trying to kill me and warn me at the same time?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
But it's inevitable?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No, the logic is not.
It's not there.
It's not there. In which
it's a good idea, but the logic's not there.
If you can explain, like, I know the concept is supposed to be you can't avoid death.
Yeah.
But you can avoid death for certain long periods of time. I mean,
Right.
we're
Yeah,
all
yeah,
pretty much doing it.
but like even and towards the end of the movies they think they're safe for like a few months, right?
Yeah.
Why does it wait a few months?
Right.
Like the first movie, it was 6 months later.
Yeah.
Why does it wait that long to come back
Come
at
back
you?
at-
Let you forget about it, let you make
Yeah.
you feel safe.
Yeah.
That like why 6 months though? Like I don't know, it threw me off. I was like,
Specifically,
you just decided to like
take a break.
yeah.
Death isn't coming for me this time, but next time it will.
Yeah, and
No.
it like goes in order and
Yeah.
shit. So you just have to keep helping the other person save you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I'm good.
It doesn't make sense.
Put a bullet in my head.
Yeah, it does not. Like, that's how I feel about the Hunger Games. It's like, if I have to go
Yeah.
out there and try to survive, I'm probably not going to survive very long. Because at that point, it'd be like, you know what, just hit me now, please. Like, just take me out. Because only one winner. Like, you know?
Right.
Like, there's only one. So, like, the odds are of me surviving.
Not in my favor.
are not
Like,
in my favor. So just fucking take
not
me
to
out.
mention, they will literally take children. And I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. So it's like, just fucking take me out now.
Like, how are they going to survive out there?
Like, why did Katniss Everdeen get to survive? Like,
Well, smarts. Like, street smart.
but there was 10 times more people that were
There
smarter
was,
than
but
her.
she hid in trees and shit. And she made allies with that little girl.
Yeah, that's true.
And PETA also. But PETA, that shit didn't make any sense. Where did he get the materials to camouflage himself the way he did?
Well, probably because of the, what's-it-called, that flies out to me.
Yeah, but that only flies if you get sponsors.
But I think they had plenty of sponsors.
I
can't
think
remember
they
the
only had
movie.
sponsors because PETA was like, if it wasn't for the baby. Which means they care more about an unborn baby fetus that's not even real, by the way, because he was lying. More than they do the children that they send into the arena.
Yeah. Makes no sense. The whole movie, I was just like, you know, I get it. I understand.
And I think it's a cool concept, but
Yeah, but like, put people into an arena. You're either going to have people that are going to be like, we're not doing this shit. What are you going to do? Wipe us all out?
yeah, what happens if all of them just agree not to kill each other?
Yeah.
Then
They'll
what?
wipe them out. They have that little special...
And then they'll do it again?
Yeah.
Oh my
But
god.
I understand that you want to survive, like, people want to survive. I just don't know if I come into contact of groups of people that are fighting to get to the end. And, to be honest, allies, when it comes to a game that is all
Only one of you survives?
survive, doesn't make sense to me.
Mhm.
Because it's like, why are you fighting for this point, knowing that you're going to ally yourself with this person,
Right.
thinking that you may... And the whole point is they're going to turn on you in the end. Yes, you get to survive a little longer and get a bigger chance
Yeah.
to get to the end. But if you have like 20 of you trying to survive...
I think there's like 12 districts total, but 2 of them in each district, a boy and a girl. So it's
And I'm sorry,
24?
yeah, when you're all sleeping, I'm taking you out. I will not sleep. I'll just take you all out. Just...
So that was some of them spent. We gotta stop talking about it.
I know. I do think that, like, when it comes to survival, people would either survive or they won't.
Right.
Kind of like how you always talk about how you're just like, you know what? If it's a certain point,
Oh
just
yeah.
take me out.
Take me out. I'm gone.
I'm gone. I just feel like...
There are some deaths worse than others.
Yeah. But I do feel like, going back to the Hunger Game thing of, like, certain places that you could do, King's Island, I think, would be...
Yes,
it's an amusement
but at
park
night.
At night. And if it's
Yeah.
abandoned, you know, we talked about that last time.
It'd be cool if it was like abandoned, but the lights were still turned on.
Little freaky.
Yeah.
Little creepy.
And the music's still playing.
Oh.
And
Could you imagine?
yeah.
That is like one of my worst fears, is
Same.
going into the music part and all that music starts playing. I'm like, I'm out. I'm gone. Like, why did I come here in the first place?
I wouldn't.
Just to die. You know, we were talking about that the last episode that we did about this, and you know how you were talking about abandoned malls and
Oh
abandoned
yeah.
places, and how you were like, why would you go inside that?
Literally, you're gonna end up in the back room.
Yeah, I was like, and the last time I just really, really thought about it. My mind went places after that episode. And I was like thinking about it. Why would I go into an abandoned place? I have a fear of death anyway.
Yeah.
So why would I take my chances in dying?
You have no idea what's in there.
I love the idea of immortality. And I was
Yeah.
talking to my kids about immortality, about how I kind of view it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like vampire? Okay, I'm gonna give it a breakdown. So vampires' immortality is here on this plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that there's a possibility of multi-planes
Mm-hmm.
where our spirit can travel once we leave this plane. Like
Right.
our live bodies leave this plane, so our spirits can travel and live. So vampires, their immortality is based in this plane and this plane alone. So if
Right.
vampires were real, their immortality, their spirit can't travel to other planes because their immortality is held to this for all eternity.
Right.
So when they become vampires, they don't have the soul that can travel
Right.
from different universes. So if you believe in like reincarnation or something along the lines of that, when we die, we're immortal in the sense of our spirits are immortal. Our physical body is not immortal. So when we die, our spirit can travel to other
Yeah.
worlds and be reborn in different worlds and different societies. So like I do believe that immortality is a real thing in spiritual sense. And also I think, I don't know, this is just a theory, you could possibly achieve immortality here on this plane. Because for me, I would like to be able to live for very long periods of time to see what happens throughout time
Mm-hmm.
and then travel to other dimensions or worlds to see what happens in that.
Right.
I think that would be very
It
interesting.
would be cool for sure.
Yeah. So, like, I was explaining to them what my view on immortality was,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that vampires, if they were real, their immortality is stuck on this plane, so their spirit is bound here,
Right.
so they can't leave, even if they were killed, in the sense of like somebody were to kill them,
Mm-hmm.
so they can't leave this bound, so they're bound here because
Right.
that's where their immortality stays.
Yeah.
So if your body, physical body becomes immortal, then your spiritual body disappears and is bound here. Versus where if you're not immortal and you die, you can move on
I
into
think
other
that's a
places.
very interesting theory.
Yeah.
Like, I've never thought about that before.
Well, because I have this thing about spirituality that I'm like, I don't put my beliefs on my kids.
Right.
Like, I always tell them that this is what I think or how I feel about things, but I want you to come to your own spiritual awakening
Mm-hmm.
the way that you feel your spiritual awakening is. So that's if you believe in the Christian God or other gods that you would believe in. I don't necessarily believe that a God in the sense of they're just immortals.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that they're immortals that are bound here and they just kind of do their own thing
Right.
and they're not necessarily in charge of people. That's why I also don't believe in hell in the sense of like no matter what we do here on this plane, like you're not going to damn when you go.
Right.
Just because I feel like the punishments that you do are here on this living plane
Mm-hmm.
because we have free will. So you're giving us free will, and then you want to tell us, like the Christian sense, you want to tell us that you can't do these specific things, but I'm giving you free will. So if you do these specific things, I'm gonna punish you for it.
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me. The logic doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to me. But then again, I don't believe in a Christian God.
Right.
So like, I know I'm getting on a whole
No, you're
rant
fine. I think the same thing
about it. So like,
about it.
I believe that like all your punishments, no matter what you do here, whether it's right or wrong, because I do feel like right and wrong is kind of a gray area
Mhm.
too, because of the sense of like these people thoroughly believe they're doing the right thing,
Right.
and we believe they're doing the wrong thing. So yes, they have different opinions and they feel like it's right, and we feel like it's wrong. So we don't really know what is right and wrong,
Mm.
but we just have this moral compass that says this doesn't feel right to us
Right.
as a society, right? So at the same time, these people see it a different way. They're like, well, the law says that it's this, but my moral compass doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So like I to me, when someone does something, that's my view of them doing something stupid.
Right.
But in their head, they think we're doing something stupid. They feel like we're doing the wrong.
Yeah.
Do you like? I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, no, like don't come for me when it comes to that because like that's just how I view it.
Right.
Like, yes, right and wrong in the sense of what laws are
Right.
is right and wrong. This
I
is
think it's
people
a case
put
by
it.
case scenario.
Yeah, but our moral
Like
compass,
Law and Order.
yeah, but our moral compass says that's not right. It doesn't
Right.
feel right to me, right? But
Mhm.
their moral compass says it feels right to me, and you gave us free will in
Mhm.
the sense of like something gave us free will. Doesn't matter if the gods were like, oh, we're not going to interfere with people. Like
Yeah.
they can do whatever they want. I just don't feel like it's right that if you gave us this free will that you're
Mhm.
going to torture us for all eternity in
For
a place.
using it.
Yeah, for using it. That's on you. That's not on me. And I didn't ask to be here. So there's this lady that was talking about how like and I love my family. I love my
Mhm.
parents. Like don't get me wrong. But also, you know, I don't have a relationship with my bio dad. So when I talk about my parents, talking about my stepdad and my mom.
Mhm.
This lady was like, you owe your parents for bringing you and raising you and protecting you on this planet. I don't owe my parents nothing.
For doing the bare minimum. For having me. For the consequence of having a baby.
Because I didn't ask to be here. I didn't ask my parents like, hey, please.
I would really like to be born.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm suffering because somebody like you said, hey, let's do it, and then put me on this planet.
Literally.
And now I have to work for all of eternity? That's so stupid. This is stupid. I'm sorry. I'm going on a whole other rant, but that's stupid. You know? Like, why do I have to fucking work? I think that if you're going to live in this world, that I shouldn't have to work. I don't want to work. I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to. Like, I didn't have to be here.
Yeah.
Now I'm here and I have to suffer. It's so stupid. All this stupid stuff that's going on in this fucking world. I didn't ask for it to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't ask to be put here. I'm going on a run. I have feelings today. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know how I feel.
I do.
I'm just ranting, and I feel like just because I'm ranting, I have a right to say it's my show. So I can do whatever I want. But I feel like, and then if it's like something like the Hunger Games or the Purge were to happen, that's not my problem. I don't want to be a part of that. So why am I a part of it? I didn't ask to be here. Anyway, my rant's done.
Do you feel better? I
feel better. I had to get it out. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up, but I'll tell them all the stuff. So Liz, I haven't been putting because I've been editing. Oh my god.
It's okay.
I don't use Fanbase anymore because we weren't getting any traction
Yeah.
on Fanbase. So you can find us on Clapper, RSS.com, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, TikTok, Instagram. Oh, and Skylight. I can't forget about Skylight. I am enjoying.
What about Blue Sky?
That's Blue. Well, Blue Sky and Skylight are kind of the same thing. Skylight is tied to Blue Sky, so we do Blue Sky on there. You can find us at the Gen D podcast on those. Also, we do have a couple things that are in the works. We're working on something new. We're also getting ready to do a couple of other things. We are about to wrap up our third season. We're coming to the end on that. But don't worry, one of the other things that we're working on, you'll probably see us very soon. So we're kind of excited to kind of get things on the roll because we're trying to grow as a podcast. We're trying to grow as people. We're heading down various different roads for the two of us because that's what we do. And hopefully we will start seeing and welcome the newcomers that have come. And hopefully we start seeing a bit of a growth where we can work on getting sponsors and stuff like that for the show. I'm just really, we love doing this. This is our thing. I know a lot of people find us to be, we're kind of crazy because we never really stay on topic. The whole point in this show is that we're two friends from two different generations that are just sharing our life experiences from our own perspectives growing up, how she viewed things growing up with her family, and how I view things growing up with mine, and our backgrounds kind of coming together and kind of helping us grow as people. We do, plan on having some guests from other generations come on to the show. We did have uh, one guest come from another generation. That was my son. He's from a new generation. So hopefully, as time goes on, you'll see us a little bit more, and just come check us out. Come follow us. Come like our stuff. We just like to have fun, and we want you guys to be a part of it. That's the whole point of why we do this in the first place. So until next time, bye.
Bye.